What's up, everyone? This is Danny Segura, and I'm joined by Michael Chiesa via Skype. And Mike will be fighting Joe Lauzon at UFC Fight Night 50. Mike, how are you?
Doing good, man. Just grinding away. Just a typical day of work.
Now, I see you got some UFC posters behind you. Where are you right now?
I'm in my living room. I actually got a good assortment. I got all the posters for my events. You got Fight for the Troops, Tough Live, Honda Housey,
Nice.
and Demetrius. Gonna hang up the one from MGM here soon. Just getting it framed right now.
Looks like a pretty solid man cave.
I know.
Where are the video games? That's my question.
I got all three systems fully loaded, ready to go.
All right, so you'll be fighting Joe Lauzon, very tough opponent, very well known. And I found interesting you actually posted a Throwback Thursday picture on your Instagram with him before you were into the Tough House. So
Yeah.
now that, before you were even getting into the Tough House, you weren't even the Tough winner yet, and yet you knew who he was, and now you find yourself fighting him. What does that feel like, and what is that experience like?
You know what's crazy is when I first started watching UFC. I graduated high school in 2006, and my sister's old boyfriend, was like, "Hey, we're gonna go over to our buddy Johnny's house, and we're gonna watch the UFC." And it was the night Matt Hughes rematched BJ Penn, and they're like, "Oh, it's the return of Jens Pulver," and I'm like, "Oh, Jens Pulver, like fucking sweet," And then like, boom, Joe
Yeah.
Lauzon, like 19, 20-year-old kid just smoked him. You know what I mean? So I saw that live, and it was cool. It's just for me, I've been waiting for these fights. You know what I mean? I've been waiting to fight these guys. When you're fighting these guys like Francisco Trinaldo, a guy who can compete with anybody in the division, tough as nails, doesn't have a name, it kind of puts pressure on you. It's like, man, it's like I'm down to go out and perform against anybody, but it puts a lot of pressure when you're fighting a no-name guy. And now it's like I get to fight Joe Lauzon. All I gotta do is work hard and show up, and it's going to be a very competitive fight that I really feel like I can win. No disrespect to him. I got all the respect for him in the world. I idolize his style. I'd like to say that we have a lot of similarities, but it's just kind of crazy how life pans out. You know what I mean? Saw him at Tough Tryouts, took a picture with him, and look where we are today. It's pretty crazy.
Now, Joe Lauzon is, he's been around for a while. As you said, he put away Jens Pulver, which was a surprise to many. I think, he must have been a huge underdog in that fight. But he's currently ranked number 15 in the division. And you've been a guy, you have a record of, I believe you're 4-1 in the UFC. Do you feel like a win over Joe Lauzon, especially he's ranked number 15? Do you think with that win, you'll break the top 15?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't see how I'm not in the top 15 already. I mean, my only loss was against Masvidal, and I didn't get blown out by any means. I gave him a good go, and I did what no one else has. I put him in a lot of trouble in more ways than one. And obviously you're not going to go up the rankings off losing fights, but yeah, Joe's 15. Masvidal was 14th last time I checked. So I'm gunning for those spots. And this is gonna be a good fight, man. I'm more than confident I can win. I like where my head's at. I like how my training's going. But I definitely feel like if I beat him, I get that spot. That should be my spot. If it should have been a long time ago.
Now, a lot of fighters don't really pay too much attention to their division. They don't even watch tape, as some say. But a lot of fighters also don't agree with the rankings. You're a fighter that's been very vocal about, paying attention to your division and keeping a close eye on it. Do you think the rankings are legit? And, do you think they really picture out how the lightweight division is?
No, not at all. Rankings are important because you got to, obviously, you got to gun for those top spots. You got to get in the top three if you want a title shot. But I really don't feel like rankings mean shit. I mean, I feel like I'm a no ranked guy. I'm nowhere near the top 15. To many pundits, which I totally disagree with. But I feel like I could get out there and compete with any of these guys, if not beat them. You know what I mean? So I've always been a guy, and I'll say it time and time again, that this is not a math equation. Numbers and odds and rankings and all that shit, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the only number that matters is the two guys that get in the cage to fight, and one guy walks out the winner. Those are the only numbers that matter. I don't pay attention to who's ranked where, how many wins this guy has, what the odds are, any of that. It just, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because what this sport has shown time and time again is that stuff really doesn't matter, you know?
Now, you recently posted something on Instagram. I believe you were in a grappling tournament. That's something that it's not so common in MMA fighters. We usually don't see them, step on the mat and venture down the sport of jiu-jitsu. What are your thoughts on training and competing in jiu-jitsu as an MMA fighter?
It's just my first love, was wrestling. I wrestled growing up, and the thing that came next was grappling, and then it was MMA, and anytime I get a chance to get out there and compete, especially, there was good guys at that tournament, and I looked at it as like good training. I know the UFC would probably be upset, if something had happened to me that day, but I went to that grappling tournament with that mentality. Like, it's just no different if I was to go cross train at Ivan Salivari's gym in Seattle or something like that. I'm going to get out on the mat and I'm going to roll hard with a bunch of new guys. It's the same thing going to do this grappling tournament. It's just good training. And, there's a lot of intangibles that you can take from it too. It was good to get out there and compete and kind of get in that mindset, a little bit early before the fight. It's like little small things like that can start to add up. It takes a lot of inches to make a mile. So, I'm just out there trying to collect inches. It's not just about grinding your body and that hard training. You also need to do small things to mentally prepare yourself for that night. So that was just it was a good chance to get out there and compete, do what I love to do, and it was just good training for my fight.
Now, someone who competes a lot as well in jiu-jitsu, or at least used to, is your opponent, Joe Lauzon. How do you feel like you match up with him when it comes to the ground?
I feel, what, I'm a realist. I would never sit here and blow smoke up someone's ass and say something that I don't feel is true. Joe, from a technical standpoint, he probably has more technique than me. I have no shame in saying that. He's been doing this longer than I have. He definitely has his weapons, but I know that I have good enough of an arsenal to stifle his ground game. I have a lot of things we've been working on, a lot of special partners. So I got some I've been working with a couple of Abu Dhabi competitors. I got a Hickson Gracie black belt coming in. Got some good partners coming in. It's been a good camp, but Joe and I, we match up well. This is a fight that's going to be really exciting for the fans. Joe handpicked me, so I got to I love the guy. He's an awesome dude. Obviously I was friends with Proctor on the show. We were teammates, spent 13 weeks with him, so I've hung out with Joe a few times, just at fight shows and stuff, but he kind of handpicked me, so I got to make him regret that.
So with that being said, what do you think your fight is going to be like, and what do you think the fans can expect?
I mean, the fans can just expect a crazy fight. I mean, look at how me and Joe fight. We both come forward. We both throw heat. We both have great submissions. I mean, him and I have never been in a boring fight. You know what I mean? I've been in, we both only had one decision in the UFC. I mean, even my fights on the Ultimate Fighter back when I sucked and I wasn't good at MMA and I was a one-trick pony, even my fights back then were exciting. So, I mean, like I said, man, I'm just really excited for the opportunity. When you're fighting a guy with a name, it just takes so much pressure off. I'm just like, whew, it's just, I'm excited for the opportunity, man. And, I got to prove myself. I got to prove to everybody. I got to prove to the world that I really mean when I say, I want to be a champion. I have the tools to become a champion. And, I just got to take it fight by fight. And, I love Joe, but I got to walk through him.
All right. Well, Mike, thank you so much again for taking your time for this interview, and best of luck in your fight, man.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.